Balogun Broad does. Let's talk about the stock market and Alaba market. Let's talk about share IPOs and diesel supply LPOs. Let's talk about Broad Street.
The Nigerian Stock Exchange recorded an all-time high of...
And Balogun Street.
The maximum I was spent on fuel to and fro was 4,000.
On Balogun and Broad, Wednesdays at 5.
How will the CBN's managed float of the Naira affect your business? That's our big question. A question we started asking last week. We're continuing today. The decision to float the Naira is one of the biggest stories in the business world. The central bank has clarified that the Naira is undergoing a managed float, not a free float. That's our business hard fact. And since last week, we've been talking about this policy decision and all the other related announcements from them. And we're continuing today with the founder and chief analyst at Nairametrics, Ugochukwu Obichukwu. Welcome to Balogun Broad on Hard Facts. All right, live in of course, Facebook, Nigeria Info, Internet, Nigeria. And we have questions, you have comments about Naira, about your business. This is after all the reason of the show about how issues in the news of the question. Why did Nigeria have multiple interest rates to begin with?
I think Nigeria historically have had exchange rates, but I didn't prefer to go just before the COVID. Back in 2010, when oil price Nigerian rates was under pressure, it was very aggressive, and so far the movement out of software operation from 360 to 370 was banned until struck, and into manage the assessment usually in process. One West African contemporary economies, but because they don't have a significant amount of currency, they tend to control how the acting being fought with dollars. And when you start to do that, it creates there permanent or no days. The foreign money recover very well. There are policies upon policies, the movies like also and demand. And so because only it does have a stable exchange rate that we reality. And so for that reason, they now had multiple exchange rate markets. So you had exchange rate that they were using to sell dollars to BDCs. They had exchange rate they were using to convert Nigeria's oil revenue to states for FACA location. You had exchange rate for PTA and BTA, which is travel allowances. You also had exchange rate at the investor and exporter window, which was actually working before COVID struck. Now, again, the underlying reason why you had this exchange rate was because the CBN just wanted to have a fixed rate and control, the supply of forex in the country. And remember, that also kind of resonated with what the ex-president Buhari wanted. He always thought that Nigeria's exchange rate and dollar should be stable or shouldn't even move, which of course it's unrealistic. Right. And so back then, if you recall, Emefiele used to say that look, he kind of felt like a lot of the demand there were fictitious demand, there were speculators, the Naira wasn't that weak, this is not reality, that's not real. And so as long as we kept holding on to that belief that the exchange rate was not depreciating, of course, the parallel market had its own ideas and had its own understanding of reality. And so we started to see dislocation within the markets. Eventually, sometime in 2021, the CBN now moved to about 440, and then it was there up until just recently. It was always at 440, but nobody in reality was buying at 440. So essentially what it was trying to do was just to manage demand, and then it came up with all sorts of policies to try to manage demand. Mind you, Forex is usually a demand and supply play. So if have enough supply of forex in your country to match demand, then you would achieve stability. But you don't have enough supply, but demand is increasing, the prices would always depreciate. Now, the issue with central banks is that, since supply is not coming, remember, you also had global economic issues. A lot of countries were still reeling from COVID. A lot of advanced countries or developed economies didn't want to invest in emerging markets or sub-Saharan African countries like Nigeria. So dollar wasn't really coming in. So the central bank thought, well, in its own wisdom, maybe it was better to just control demand, which in hindsight, a lot of people always said it was a wrong move because that now even scared away the few foreign investors that might have continued to invest in Nigeria. So kind of worsened the entire inflation, and then so they started creating a multiple markets. You know what it is like when things are very bad, you start to now, look at ways to fix it, like patching a leaking roof. As you're doing that, the water is draining from everywhere, and so that's how we landed with several, exchange rates.
And that's such a beautiful way to like take us through the history of it all, and then to where we are now, because the CBN just clarified that even what we have now is a managed float. It's not a free float. What factors are behind the CBN's reluctance to let the Naira float completely, Ugochukwu?
So, I was having a discussion with somebody who's also very savvy with economic issues, macroeconomic issues. And the understanding is that, look, most countries, even in the West, don't necessarily operate full floats in that sense. Or look, maybe that might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but maybe most developing economies or emerging market economies that want to attract foreign investors don't really operate full floats. For example, even in China, right, they don't really operate full floats. They still operate managed floats, even though they own most of Nigeria's, they own significant amount of external reserves. So they tend to adopt managed floats. So managed float it's also a bit of a float. So maybe I should just start by explaining what a float is. So a float essentially is you've decided that your currency is going to dance to the tune of demand and supply. It's just the same way if you go to the market today and you want to buy oranges. It's the price that is in the market that you buy. Nobody controls orange prices, do they? No one. Orange prices is just determined by the market. So if the demand is more than the supply, there's likelihood that orange prices will be high. If supply is more than demand, there's likelihood that orange prices will be lower. So FX is a bit like that, and that's what a float is. However, because most emerging markets like Nigeria depend a lot on imports, right? So because you depend a lot on imports, you don't necessarily have a huge dollar reserve because you don't export a lot of things. And so that means the dollars that you have is just enough to fund things that are very important in the country, right? So most times they tell you that your dollar reserves should be able to fund 6 months of imports, right? Because you import a lot of stuff. Right. So in the case of Nigeria, because we rely a lot on imports, and it's not like we have extraordinary good reserves. We actually have our reserves are not that robust. You now say, if you float the currency, that means you just allow market to determine the price. Then find yourself in a situation where the exchange rate is suddenly maybe 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever to the Naira, all because you just want to float your exchange rate. Now, it does happen even in developed economies. If you recall, sometime early this year or late last year in the UK, the pounds was just crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Leading to Prime Minister having to resign. And that's because the British pound is operating a full float. So it was losing value against the dollar. So emerging economies, they don't really like that to happen because they often don't have a buffer. The UK and most economies, they do have buffers. A buffer, again, is a huge external reserves. And then they have they have a lot of exports. So, and then, they actually consume most of what they produce. And so imported inflation, which is actually the key problem with exchange rate, is reduced in those countries. So in much like Nigeria, tend to operate what is called a managed float. Now, what that essentially means is the way the exchange rate was in maybe 2019. A lot of us, tend to forget that back then the exchange rate was fairly stable. Where whichever market you went to, it was like 360 or 363, but within that band. Now, what was happening then was, let's assume that you had somebody who wanted to buy $1 billion, or you had a total demand of $1 billion, and you had $600 million in the market for sale. Now, what it means is that the people who have $1 billion will be willing to pay significantly more for the $600 million that is available, which is pure demand and supply. So if the exchange rate opened at maybe 750 that morning, there's every likelihood that it goes at 760 or 770 because there's a lot more demand than supply. Now, in a managed float, what the central bank will do is say, look, I don't really like that there is a $400 million
dollar demand
difference.
right.
Yes. So here's what I will do. I will come in and sell that $400 million from my reserves. So if I sell it at my reserves, I can determine the price that I want to sell it at, right? So that way, the exchange rate might not go to 770, but it won't be 760, but it will probably be 765 or 766. So that's a managed float. But in a full float, the central bank wouldn't even intervene at all, right? They would just say, like, you guys do whatever you want to do. I really don't care. If it goes to 800, then so be it, right? But the implication is that that would immediately lead to inflation and then just cause different problems of its own. So that's why most emerging markets tend to do
a managed float.
Managed float is also
now,
long as
go ahead.
Careless.
You finish that, yes. So long as what?
So long as the central bank is not careless about it, right? Or reckless. Yeah.
Now, I've heard a few analysts who've said that there could be advantages to a weaker currency. And so they say things like, rather than try to defend the Naira at a particular value, shouldn't the couldn't the CBN perhaps take advantage of a weaker currency? Are there no advantages that the CBN and the government could leverage for our economy? What do you think about that?
Sorry, I missed that. Advantage, in what terms?
So you have analysts who say that rather than try to defend the Naira at a particular value, there are there advantages to a weaker currency that the CBN and the government could leverage for our economy.
Of course. I mean, there are some countries that love weaker currencies, and it does have a huge advantage. Now, but you would like weaker currency if you're in an export business. I mean, think about it. Let's assume that you export soap. That's all you do. Just produce soap and export.
Right.
The weaker the dollar, weaker the Naira, right, the more Naira you have. Because what it means is that if you export soap worth $1 million and the exchange rate is 750, then that means you make 750 million Naira, isn't it? But if the exchange rate goes to 800 Naira, then that same $1 million of soap gets you 800 million. So countries that produce a lot, they tend to like weaker currencies. And even government also gets a lot more money to share when the currency is weaker, right? Because then fact allocation is now a lot more in Naira terms. But Sandra, the thing is that can also be a problem if you don't export a lot. Because what it means is that fine, you get all the Naira you want, but that's just going to trigger inflation because prices of goods and services are going to go up. So you've got to be able to balance it very well for it to work. So that is why I had mentioned that the central bank has to be actually very disciplined when they want to implement managed float, because you also don't want reserves to keep defending the currency at any point in time or whenever you want. It's got to be targeted. Yeah.
Lagos, join the conversation 0700-993-993 01465-7190. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili, and I've got Ugochukwu Obichukwu here with me. He is founder and chief analyst at Naira Metrics, and today we're talking about how the CBN's managed float of the Naira will affect your business. We've got WhatsApp too. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. Let's talk about the CBN also raising the DOM account cash withdrawal limit. Ugochukwu, what did it hope to achieve with that limit? What were the negative impacts on business?
They're very not limited limits, negative impact. But maybe let's start with why it was even done in the first place. So remember what I had mentioned earlier about trying to wrestle demand as a way of achieving exchange rate stability, which is what the central bank under Godwin Emefiele felt was the best policy. So to do that, they now started curbing how much people were using their DOM accounts, and because they didn't want trade, or they didn't want people to convert a lot of their Naira into dollars and start to do dollar transaction. They were basically just trying to, stop dollarization
Right.
in their own wisdom, right? So
Right.
they felt, look, why don't we just put all sorts of restrictions on dollars, so you can't transfer. If you had dollars in one bank A, you can't transfer it to bank B. And even if you want to transfer it to bank B, you must clearly explain why you want to do it. You must
Right.
show invoices and things. I mean, these were all just towards trying to limit demand so that you can have stable, exchange rate. And so a lot of people didn't like it because they felt it was artificial and it was not well thought through, and it was being done because you were just trying to manage, stable exchange rate, which you could actually not achieve. And so those things actually exacerbated the issue, and that is why you saw that huge disparity between the official market and the black market. And the black market just kept going worse, that kept getting worse with each new FX policy aimed at curbing demand. The FX was just change rate was just and getting worse. But now that it's off the table, hey, what it means is that, I mean, if you for Nigerians who want to maybe work and earn abroad but live here in Nigeria, you can earn dollars and you open your DOM account and you keep it rather than keep it in foreign accounts. Because what was happening is that a lot of Nigerians just got fed up and started opening foreign accounts in other countries and were stashing their dollars there. But now that there are restrictions off for domiciliary account, then you can just have your domiciliary account open up here and then fund your bank account with dollars. I mean, the downside is that people can still convert their Naira to dollars, but the thinking is that if you remove the restriction, you allow a lot more inflow. Remember that thing I talked about with supply? You have a lot more have dollars. So when there's not a lot of dollars in the economy, I mean, typically what might happen is that's oversupply of dollars might just now match demand, right? And then it's just simple, just how banking works. So imagine, Sandra, that you had $20,000 in the account and you just kept it there, and maybe you don't have any use for it. You just bought it because you wanted to just save some of your money in dollars.
In dollars, yeah.
Right now, what it means, if let's assume I want to pay for something in the US or in the UK, maybe I wanted to pay for a service that some company rendered to my company. So I'll need $10,000, right? So what the bank would do is the bank would just tell me, okay, come buy $10,000 from us at 756 or 765, for example. So I would buy that. Dollars they are giving me is your dollars, right? So they give me your dollars, and then I use it for what I want to do, what I want to use it for. Then they wait and they cannot see somebody else. At some point, exchange rate might now strengthen, right? So they will now maybe buy again, right, and then replace your dollars back, because I mean they don't think you're going to need that dollars anytime soon. So you see, that sort of encourages transactions.
But will the commercial banks and the CBN be able to meet the increased demands now that I can just swap it out? Will demand has increased, like you mentioned earlier on, or demand will increase? Will they be able to meet the new demand?
Well, that's the concern. So temporarily, I don't think so. But the impression that people get, and that's why you see the market responding positively, is that over time, supply will come back. There's still a number of things that need to be done before supply comes back. But the first major step is unifying the exchange rate and allowing the managed float. So that's why people are very positive that it might work. So you tend to hear a lot of people say it might get worse before it
gets better. Right.
But that's it.
Right. Okay. Before I talk to Gochuku some more, Lagos, here's something you need to hear.
Hey, Lagos. So I've been saying
All right, thank you very much. You heard the woman play and play responsibly. Lagos, I'm Sandra Ezekwesili, and I have the founder and chief analyst at Nairametrics on the show today, Ugochukwu Obichukwu. We're talking about how the CBN's managed float of the Naira will affect your business. We started at the very beginning. Why did we have multiple exchange rates? And then we talked about what it actually means to now have this managed float versus a free float. Why are we not letting it float completely? We've talked as well about the raising of the limits on your DOM accounts, the withdrawal limits on your DOM accounts, and what that could help achieve for you as a business, for CBN, for the banks, etc., etc. When we come back from this break that we're about to go on, Ugochukwu will talk to us about foreign direct investment. So when the float was first announced, a lot of analysts said that it would encourage foreign investment, right? But now that we know that it's a managed float, what signal will that send to investors? Is there a risk that investors will say, okay, they'll soon go back to the old system. So if the Naira gets too weak, they're going to no. So we're just going to wait and see how things play out. I don't know if that's what's going to happen. Ugochukwu is the expert in the room. He'll let us know when we come back from the break. We'll also talk about the impact on businesses, especially those of you who rely on imports for your business. What should you expect in terms of access to Forex to make your imports? Especially when you remember that we still have those 43 items restricted still. Again, I am Sandra Ezekwesili. You're listening to Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Don't go away.
Hard Facts will be right back. Join the conversation no matter where you are. Download our mobile app by searching Nigeria Info FM on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Also, get news updates in sports, entertainment, news, and current affairs right on the app. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
More conversation, more talk, more right after this.
When you're getting stressed and you need to relax, take Supramalt Plus. When your appetite is gone and you need to get it back, take Supramalt Plus. Supramalt Plus, multivitamin to take every day. Supramalt Plus.
Also available as Super Malt capsules for energy and vitality. Get yours today in a pharmacy near you. Super Malt, your reliable multivitamin.
When you're in 9Mobile, Nigeria's own network, you get rewarded for asking for more. So whenever you need more data to stream your favorite movies and music, or to play the latest blockbuster games, 9Mobile has got you covered with 8 GB for just 1,500 Naira, 9.5 GB for 2,000 Naira, and many more. So join 9Mobile now or dial *301# to choose any of our reliable and affordable plans to express yourself freely on Nigeria's confirmed network. 9Mobile, here for you, here for Naija.
Looking to rent a house? Let's connect you with thousands of landlords across Nigeria where you can pay your rent in monthly installments.
Visit the website www.ilea.com. That's ILEYAH.com.
And in less than 10 minutes, you can start paying your rent monthly forever. Terms and conditions apply.
Powered by Ilea.
Moves must be made. My people just to work hard. Dreams and challenges motivate us. But sometimes, when the journey gets tiring, all we need is something to push our limits.
Yeah, reactor. Ignite your energy. Bring out your inner champion. Reactor. Reactor. Ignite your energy. Bring out your inner champion. Reactor.
Reactor Energy Drink. What you need to push your limits.
Wahala. Reactor Energy Drink. Push your limits. No dey tire. No way. Reactor Energy Drink. Reactor.
Push your limits.
Uncle Dent,
dentist. What are cavities? And how does Colgate protect my teeth from cavities? Does it use Kung Fu?
No, dear. Most tooth pains are caused by tooth holes called cavities. When you brush daily with Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection, its expert formula locks natural calcium in our teeth and helps protect them from cavities.
It's time to upgrade to the world's most chosen toothpaste, Colgate, because Colgate locks calcium in.
Keeps cavities out!
Colgate is recommended by the Nigerian Dental Association.
This is the University of Africa. Here, the most important qualification is imagination, because here, everyone has a reason to imagine.
Passion, finesse, skill, beats, stunts, beats.
What's your reason? We want to hear it from you. Imagine it with you. Maybe even make it a reality for you. Follow at Airtel Nigeria on all social media platforms for more details. T's and C's apply.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Where's your paradise? London, Doha, Singapore, Miami, Zanzibar? This summer, Wakanao has got you covered. Lock down unbeatable travel deals with only 10% down payment and pay small in convenient installments. Book now on wakanao.com. Download the Wakanao app for even cheaper deals or walk into any of our travel centers near you. Take a break. Escape to paradise. Wakanao. Let's go.
We at ShopRite would like to wish all our Muslim customers happy Salah during the Eid Kabir celebration. Enjoy lower prices on items like Coke, Fanta or Sprite 350ml PET bottles at 114 Naira 99 kobo, saving 35 Naira. And Power 4.6 litre vegetable cooking oil at 6,649 Naira 99 kobo, saving 2,140 Naira only. Prices valid till the 2nd of July 2023. ShopRite. Lower prices you can trust always.
If you're on 9 Mobile, then you're most definitely enjoying ridiculously affordable data. Like 4.2 gigabytes for only 1,000 Naira. 1K, hold on. You also get 6.5 gigabytes for 1,200 Naira. And 9.5 gigabytes at guess how much? 2,000 Naira. Come on, guys. Join 9 Mobile now or dial *301# to choose from our affordable and reliable data plans to express yourself freely on Ninja's confirmed network. 9 Mobile. Here for you, here for Ninja.
Oh, the only detergent that keeps me bright and fresh. I know they waste time to wash. I thought my clothes have the best, so why go less? You can't wash it out with a little Viva. Use Viva. Don't waste your time, don't waste your money. Use Viva.
Quality cleaning powder from Aspira.
Naija people with the yarn better tori abeg.
Man like Osimhen. Baba just dey chop Italian league like Oha. Chelsea want am. Man, you dey wait. Even Mourinho dey hate. Come off it.
No one tells a story like we do. Stream live football, local and international shows on Showmax, Africa's original streaming service. Sign up at showmax.com.
Get ready to embrace the summer season with Qatar Airways. Treat yourself to lunch on a charming European boulevard, explore rolling hills and winding rivers, or lounge on a secluded beach. Start planning your new adventure now and enjoy incredible savings for up to 20%. Book by 5th July 2023 for travel until 31st December 2023 at QatarAirways.com. Terms and conditions apply. Qatar Airways. Going places together.
The round table is back. I recall that the former Minister for Interior, Abdulrahman Dambazao, said that people go in as dogs and come out as lions.
I don't think the Nigerian government actually took the time to look at it from a holistic perspective.
And it's just really painful because it seems as though that, with every new government, we tend to miss the previous government.
It's just like you put human beings to live as pigs inside a place. How do you correct such? I don't even know who gave them the idea of changing the name.
The
Round Table. This June 28th, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, 29th, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., and 30th, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Be part of the table on 99.3 Lagos, 92.3 Port Harcourt, and 95.1 Abuja. Let's talk.
I would just say that we're all stakeholders in the business of building Nigeria.
When you're in 9 Mobile, Nigeria's own network, you get rewarded for asking for more. So whenever you need more data to stream your favorite movies and music, or to play the latest blockbuster games, 9 Mobile has got you covered with 8 GB for just 1,500 Naira, 9.5 GB for 2,000 Naira, and many more. So join 9 Mobile now or dial star 301# to choose any of our reliable and affordable plans to express yourself freely on Nigeria's confirmed network. 9 Mobile, here for you, here for Naija.
So, we went on the streets to ask people how they love Nescafe Multi.
This multi, that's sweet, oh!
I love it. Love it. Love it.
Whoever added malt to Nescafe is a genius.
The way the coffee tastes, they mix with the sweet creaminess, and the malt taste, it not get me, mba.
See, abeg, if you want greet me now, have a great multi day.
Well, you've heard it live and direct. Start your day with a Nescafe Multi every day. And have a great multi day. Start strong, finish strong. Nescafe.
Conga Media Shopping Festival is live with unbelievable price crash on your favorite products across categories. Enjoy same-day delivery and free shipping for all Conga Now orders. Visit Conga.com today. Conga, the e-commerce group you trust.
Imagine a life with zero worry.
Flip to Page Financials for loans done right. Page Financials offers instant loans that keep you on track. No matter what life throws your way, you can get up to 5 million Naira when you need it most. Apply for a loan with Page Financials today. Visit www.pagefinancials.com or call 01-700-7243 to get started.
You are listening to your number one station for talk.
Your number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Hey Lagos. So, OnePlay.ng has been saying this thing for the past 1 month now. I mean, they have given out, everybody's cashing out. And now, the best part of everything is that a total of 150 can be won every night. And the sweetest part is that it can be won with 200 Naira. You might be asking yourself, what kind of playing is this? Is this playing? My dear, is not playing, no, because 5 people have won over 10,000 Naira each, and 2 people are winning 50,000 Naira each. So what are you doing with your time and your phone? Don't be borrowing 2K, 5K. Sweetheart, listen to this. Dial star 347 star 880# and pay just 200 Naira. And wait, 200 Naira gives you chance to win more. So it gives you more options to win more. Here's how to play. So let me give you the gist. After dialing that code, you receive a prompt. So let me break down the prompt for you. Whatever mobile network you're using, after dialing the code, you attach 1, 2, or 3 for the station you're playing for. So for example, you're dialing star 347 star 880 star 3# for Nigerian info. Let me repeat that. Star 347 star 880 star 3# for Nigeria info, and you're specifying the number of entries, you're choosing your bank, and then you move on to make payments. After making payments, you press and send your transaction. Once your transaction is completed, trust me, you literally have to listen to Nigeria info with Ada by 10:25 to make sure that you've won something. Remember, once the system picks your number, sweetie, you have cashed out. Congratulations. You've won the cash prize of the day. So what are you waiting for? Gather your family, friends, and tell someone to dial star 347 star 880# with just 200 Naira and follow the prompt. Remember that you can play as many times as you like. So start playing and don't forget to play responsibly.
If you earn a living, you probably own a business, work for one, or want to start one. Business is central to your life. But do most business shows really speak to you?
Today on the show, the $1 billion valuation of
Balogu and Broad does. Let's talk about the stock market and Alaba market. Let's talk about share IPOs and diesel supply LPOs. Let's talk about Broad Street.
The Nigerian Stock Exchange recorded an all-time high of...
And Balogun Street.
The maximum I was spent on fuel to and fro was 4,000.
On Balogun and Broad, Wednesdays at 5.
I'm Sandra Ezekwesili, Lagos. You're listening to Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info. How will the CBN's managed float of the Naira affect your business? I've got the founder and chief analyst at Nairametrics on the show with me, Ugo Dre or Bichukwu, and he's answering the questions that I have. He'll answer the questions you have as well. If you give us a call on 01465 7190 and 0700-993-993-993. Ugo Dre, before the break, I mentioned that I was going to ask what this managed float signals to foreign investors, right? Does it say to them, look, they'll soon go back to the old system if the Naira gets too weak, so let's hold off on investing, because when the story first broke, all the analysts were like, oh, this is really good. Foreign investment will start pouring back into the country. Do we still feel that way even though it's a managed float now?
I mean, you gotta be positive, shouldn't you? So I am positive. And I think there are indications that they would return. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, it does take time. They would want to see, how all the policies align, because there's still a lot of untying that needs to happen. That is still happening. They want to see. I mean, this is just a 2 weeks old market, and you already see pointers. I mean, typically when foreign investors want to come in, the bellwether is usually the stock market, and the stock market hit 60,000 points just yesterday, and that's the first time we've been that level since guess when 2008. So you can imagine, this sort of sentiments that's out there. Now, there's still a number of things that will happen, though. Foreign investors have said, look, we see what's going on, we like it, but interest rates are still very low in Nigeria. So if you want to save money in the bank, put it in the fixed deposit, you're still going to be getting negative real return. A negative real return is when your savings or fixed deposit rate is lower than inflation. You tend to get negative real return. So they don't like that. And so they're saying, look, you got to be able to increase your interest rate. And that has implications, Sandra. You know that when you increase interest rates, then borrowing becomes expensive. It then becomes a lot more difficult for people to invest in their business or to expand. And that's all because inflation is high. So it's still a long way to go. I personally don't think foreign investors will be back until maybe the last quarter of this year or maybe even early next year. So it's going to take a while. But I think in the meantime, what you're going to see is maybe sale of crude oil now becoming a bit more robust. We've taken away subsidy now, so all the dollars that was going away from subsidy, it's stopped now, so we can have some savings on that front. Diaspora Nigerians can now start to remit dollars back into the country because all those restrictions are no longer there. You and I, who have maybe DOM accounts, can now start to use our DOM accounts a lot more. You're happy now to sell some of the dollars you have in your DOM accounts rather than just keep it there. And so those are the things you're going to see happening. You're gradually going to see airlines now, start to operate fully again. Some investors will start trickling in. So those are the signs. So once you start to see those things, know that it looks like they're gradually coming back. And then, you start to see more stable exchange rates. So we're just, at the beginning of things getting better.
Okay, all right. Lagos 0700-993-993-993-01465-7190. Let's talk now about the impact of this float on businesses, Ugo Dre, especially those who rely on imports. What should they expect to see in terms of access to forex to make their imports?
I think that those who rely on imports to do business should be able to access forex a lot more easily. Mind you, this excludes those who import things that are in the banned list. Remember, we've got this 43 item ban list that the central bank still retains. That ban list emanated from the former CBN governors, one of his landmark policies that was, or maybe the most criticized policy that he had. So, but if you're importing anything else outside of that list, you can import from the INE window. You can buy dollars from the INE window, but you're not going to be paying the four something price that people were getting then. You're going to be paying the real price, which is 750 something or 760 something. Likewise, for those who maybe can't access that market, they can also buy at the black market. It's just that they're probably going to be paying it slightly higher. But you know what's interesting, Sandra? The black market seems like it's even stronger than the official market. So, which shows that a lot of the demand is actually in the official market.
Yeah,
So
I tried to buy dollars today, and my bank was selling it. I would have made more money if I had bought it from my bank than from my abuki. Yeah.
So you see.
Yeah. All right. Nestle just announced that it's replacing cornstarch with cassava in its recipes because it cannot source cassava locally. How much of that decision is down to rising import costs, and how much is down to difficulty sourcing forex to begin with? Sorry, it can source cassava locally. That's why it's replacing cassava with cornstarch.
Yeah, it's a 100 billion naira problem for Nestle. I mean, we're looking at their reports, and they said that they spent 223 or so billion on raw materials and consumables in 2022 compared to 163 billion or so in 2021. So, I mean, it does contribute a whole lot, because if you're importing raw materials that we don't make here, like corn, then you're likely to pay a lot more, because you're going to be paying in dollars. And let's also remember that commodity prices are also higher globally than they are locally, and that's still a lot of because of the Ukraine war. So commodity prices are more expensive. So importing is a bit difficult for them now. And remember as well that the government also is trying to encourage a policy that allows companies to resource their raw materials domestically. So, and I mean, cassava is also a good. I would use it.
The connection to the connection to Go has gotten really bad. Sorry about that, Lagos. But while we try, hopefully, to solve that problem, let's talk to you. 0700 993 Hello, thanks for calling us.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. What's your name, sir?
My name is Emmanuel from Alakwere.
Emmanuel from Alakwere, welcome.
Yeah. What did they confuse me in this subsidy talk?
Okay.
During the time of Shemole being labor leader, we went on strike almost 4 or 5 times. No, Basajo, they removed the subsidy. Which of the call they keep saying that subsidy removal again?
But we know they discuss subsidy now. It'd be like saying I was Zobia, you won't call. You can't call me. We know they discuss subsidy now. What we discuss now dollar. They discuss unification of dollar. But thank you very much for calling. All right, we've got Ugodre back on the call now. Ugo, hi.
Hi, I hope you can hear me clearly now.
Yes, it's much better now. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm back. So I was talking about Nestle. And so what I was saying is that it's a lot more expensive for Nestle because they have to import all their raw materials, and the Russia-Ukraine war didn't also help. So commodity prices are more expensive. And so for them, it's better for them to source those raw materials domestically. I guess the question you ask is, why weren't they sourcing the raw materials domestically anyway? But that's because we didn't have agric economy. But if you can say there's one thing that the Buhari government did well is in a lot of investment they had in the agric sector. So now a lot of companies also started doing what they call backward integration. So as much as they were importing stuff, they also invested in the local farming. and then they now have a more robust cassava, farming business. So that is what they are doing now because they feel that will save them a lot of money. Remember, Sandra, they make money in Naira. They sell their goods in Naira. So it's better for you to pay for cassava in Naira than to go and start looking for dollars so that you can import corn that is even more expensive.
Okay. And then, of course, I have to talk about the 43 items that we still have restricted. What are the implications of that? Will it leave open a gap for black market, black market domination? Like, will it leave open a gap for black market to supply importers, with the USD for those items?
Well, yes, that's the concern, because if you're saying that those items can no longer be, cannot access Forex in the official market, then the likelihood is that they would go to the black market. But the thing is that these items also are actually banned. Because most of them are actually banned from Nigerian customs list. So they're actually not, things that they are contraband items. Maybe that's the better word.
Right.
Most of them, maybe not all of them, but most of them are actually contraband. And so even those who import them, typically import them in disguise. So if you import things like this in disguise, then of course you're always gonna have to go to the black market to access Forex anyway. And there's a reason why government does that. And government is doing this because they're trying to encourage local production. So think about, they're telling you that, look, why are you importing tableware? Why are you importing textile? Why are you importing toothpick? Why are you importing furniture? These are some of the items that you have on the 43 banned list that they think we can make domestically. Is that true? It's left for everyone to know. So it will have effect, but a lot of people think it might not be as much as we think, because there's still a lot of items that we on the eligible list. So the effect might not be as much as a lot of people think. But for now, the 43 ban items remains. At least that's what the CBN wants us to believe.
Now, of course, Lagos, let me remind you what those items are: rice, cement, margarine, palm oil, palm kernel, vegetable oils, meat and processed meat products, vegetables and processed vegetable products, poultry, so chicken, eggs, turkey, private airplanes and jets, Indian incense, tinned fish in sauce, so geisha, sardines, cold rolled steel sheets, galvanized steel sheets, roofing sheets, wheelbarrows, headpans, metal boxes and containers, enamel ware, steel drums, steel pipes, wire rods, deformed and not deformed, iron rods and reinforcing bars, wire mesh, steel nails, security and razor wire, wood particle boards and panels, wood fiber boards and panels, plywood boards and panels, wooden doors, furniture, toothpicks, glass and glassware, kitchen utensils, tableware, tiles, whether they're vitrified or ceramic, textiles, woven fabrics, clothes, plastic and rubber products, soap and cosmetics, tomatoes and tomato paste, euro bond, foreign currency bond, share purchases, dairy and milk, and maize. These are the items on that list. Of course, I have to let Ugodre Obijuku go. He's been so gracious with his time today on the show. Ugodre, thank you so much for joining us on Balogun and Broad.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Lagos, stay here. We're going to talk about exports next. I have our guy from 3T Impex Trade Academy. If you want to get into the exports business, you want to figure out, well, how can I get this to work? Stay here, because from 6:15 after the news at 6, he will be here answering all those questions for you. That segment is brought to you by Stanbic IBTC. I am Sandra Ezekwesili. This is Hard Facts. Don't go away.
And I want to assume that you would run because I want to give the listeners context for the conversation.
In 2019, you were running mate to Atiku Abubakar. What did you learn then that you will not repeat this time?
Yes, when is the president coming out to address us?
There's a few things. One, I have a burden and a passion for young people.
The fact that you have elected a man does not mean then you begin to order him around. The president will do whatever is good for the country at any given time.
Mr. Adeshino, isn't the president responsible to the people?
What should the next president do to root out stakeholders who are complicit?
You fire those that need to be fired are fired.
It's looking like a brand new Chelsea, attacking with so much fluidity. And what can you say about that, Martin? I know you follow Chelsea quite closely.
I live close to the Chelsea training ground. That's what you mean by that. I'm not a